It's strange how fast a stranger can become family. One day you're sitting around the dinner table with people you've known your whole life, and the next, there's someone new at the head of it. Someone who talks like she's always belonged there. That's how it started with Lynn. I remember the first time Dad introduced her to us. We were at this little steakhouse off Route 28, the kind of place he liked because they still made old fashions the right way. My sister and I had gotten used to Dad going on dates after Mom passed, but he never brought anyone to meet us until Lynn. She was polished. That's the word that stuck with me. Not warm, not sweet. Polished. Every hair in place, blazer too sharp for dinner, like she walked off a real estate billboard. But Dad was smiling like a teenager. I mean, it was hard to judge him. He'd been alone for nearly 8 years, and he looked lighter. We made small talk. She told us she had 2 grown sons, off doing their own thing, and that she used to be in accounting before she pivoted to lifestyle coaching. I didn't even know what that meant, but Dad was hanging on her every word. I kept telling myself to be polite, that maybe I was being overprotective. She laughed at all Dad's jokes, even the ones that weren't funny anymore. My sister Emily shot me a look across the table that said, "Is this for real?" But neither of us said anything. Not then. A month later, they moved in together. 3 months after that, they were married. No big ceremony, just a backyard thing with champagne flutes and fairy lights. I didn't even know they'd picked a date. Emily was furious. She said it felt like we were watching a rerun of a show we never agreed to watch in the first place. But two tried to stay calm. I told her maybe Dad deserved to be happy. "She's family now," he said at the reception, pulling Lynn close like a trophy. "You two better get used to it." So we did. Or tried. She redecorated the house, of course. Mom's teacup collection? Gone. Replaced by some minimalist glass sculptures that looked like they belonged in an airport lobby. The old family photos on the hallway wall were rearranged. Some disappeared completely. When I asked where the one of Mom at the Grand Canyon had gone, she just said, "Oh, that one had bad lighting. I'll get it reframed." It never came back. At Thanksgiving, she hosted like she'd been doing it for decades. She told Emily how to cook the turkey a better way, and when I offered to carve it like I always had, she smiled and said, "Let's let your dad do it this year, honey." Dad just chuckled and went along with it. I bit my tongue. That became the pattern. She'd make changes, subtle at first, then not so subtle, and Dad would go along. And every time we brought something up, he'd say, "Don't be so sensitive. She's just trying to help. She's family now." So we tried to believe it. We tried to believe she meant well. But even then, something in my gut told me she wasn't just rearranging furniture, she was rearranging the family. There's this thing that happens when you try too hard to keep the peace. You start swallowing things that don't sit right until one day, it's not just your gut that feels off, it's everything. That's what it was like with Lynn. At first, it was the little stuff, like how she always inserted herself into decisions that used to be family only. When Dad wanted to sell the old boat, she was the one who brought it up over dinner like it was already done. "It's just sitting there," she said, sipping her wine. "Wouldn't it be nice to put that money toward a family vacation instead?" Except the boat had been my grandfather's. He built it with his own hands. Dad and I used to take it out every summer until he got older. When I tried to speak up, she cut in with, "Oh, don't be sentimental, sweetie. Things come and go. Memories stay." That boat was more than a memory to me. But Dad, he agreed with her. Said it was time. It sold within the week. I told myself, maybe I was overreacting. Maybe change was hard, and Lynn was just being practical. But then the money started moving. First, it was small Dad refinanced the house. Lynn said it was to reinvest in their lifestyle, whatever that meant. Then came the luxury SUV, the new kitchen remodel, the designer furniture. She always framed it as their money now, as if decades of savings and cautious planning could just be absorbed into this new thing they called a marriage. Emily started digging around more than I did. She found out Lynn had been married 3 times before. 2 ex-husbands, both cleaned out. One of them had filed for bankruptcy a year after their divorce. When Emily brought it up to Dad, he waved it off like we were reading tabloids. "People change," he said, "and you don't know her like I do." That's the thing, we didn't know her. Not really. She was always vague about her past, always redirecting conversations away from anything too personal. She'd talk for 20 minutes about a spa treatment, but clam up if you asked where she went to college. Emily and I tried to get legal clarity. We gently suggested Dad revisit his estate plans to protect what Mom had helped build. He got defensive. Said he didn't want to live like we were all waiting for him to die. Lynn called us vultures. "It's not about the money," she said. It's about control, and you two can't stand not being in charge anymore. I remember that night vividly. We left early. Emily cried in the car. I just drove in silence, gripping the wheel until my knuckles turned white. Something was happening, and we were being pushed out of the picture. Slowly, but deliberately. Then Dad's health took a turn. Nothing too dramatic at first, just fatigue, some memory lapses. But it was enough for Lynn to take over everything. She insisted on being the point of contact for his doctors. She monitored his medications. She even had his phone password changed, claiming he kept forgetting it anyway. He became quieter, more withdrawn. We saw him less. Phone calls went unanswered. When we did see him, he smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. I asked if everything was okay. He just said, "You worry too much." That's when I knew we were losing him, and not just to time or illness, but to her. Dad passed away on a rainy Tuesday in March. It was quiet, peaceful, at least that's what Lynn told us. Emily and I weren't there. She didn't call us until after he was already gone. Said she didn't want to cause a panic. I'll never forget the way that felt. Like the door to a room we'd always had access to had been locked from the inside, and we were just left standing outside in the rain. The funeral was tasteful, efficient, too efficient. Lynn had it all arranged before we could even offer input. No slideshow of photos, no mention of Mom, no stories from his childhood. It was like a corporate memo, not a goodbye. I tried to speak at the service, but she interrupted and said they were running behind schedule. Maybe at the reception, she said. I never got the chance. That night, I walked through the house one last time. It didn't feel like home anymore. The leather couch Dad loved was gone. His workshop had been converted into what Lynn called a wellness room. His old recliner, the one I helped him reupholster after Mom died, had been donated. Or so she said. I didn't believe a word of it. A week later, we met with the lawyer. That's when the real blow came. Dad's will had been revised 6 months before his death. Everything, his savings, the house, his business share been left to Lynn. Everything. Emily and I sat there frozen, the room spinning around us. The lawyer explained that Dad had signed everything voluntarily, sound of mind, notarized and filed. Lynn didn't even flinch. She sat there with her arms crossed, nodding like it was just another errand checked off her list. I asked to see the original will, the one he made before her. The lawyer said it was voided. He made his wishes clear, he said, but they weren't his wishes, not the Dad I knew. I wanted to scream. Emily was already crying. Lynn handed us envelopes, polite ones, like gift cards. Inside were checks, $10,000 each. Something for yourselves, she said, to honor your father. I stood up and walked out. I couldn't take it. That house, that money, everything that had been built over decades, everything Mom sacrificed for it was gone. Absorbed, repackaged, reassigned. And she stood there like it was all hers by right. In the weeks that followed, it got worse. Emily discovered Dad's credit card had been maxed out 3 weeks before his death. Dozens of charges, jewelry, spa weekends, even a payment to some boutique real estate seminar. Lynn claimed he approved every transaction. Said they were investing in their future. But there was no future anymore. Just us, trying to hold together the pieces of a life we weren't allowed to protect. Then came the debt collectors. Turns out the house had been refinanced twice. There were liens we didn't know about. Dad's name was still on some joint accounts, and by the time it was all sorted, there wasn't much left. Lynn filed bankruptcy within 2 months. She moved out of state, didn't even leave a forwarding address. The house was foreclosed. The boat was long gone. The memories? Scraped off the walls like peeling wallpaper. Emily and I met at a diner the day the house sold at auction. We didn't talk much. We just sat there, sipping bad coffee, watching our past disappear one payment at a time. She took everything, Emily finally said, and left us with the mess. I didn't respond. Because she was right. And because I knew deep down I'd seen it coming. We both had, but no one had listened. Because we were told she was family now. It's been 2 years now since all of it happened. The house, the will, the funeral, Lynn. Sometimes it feels like a bad dream I still haven't fully woken up from. Other times, it hits like a cold slap in the middle of an ordinary afternoon. Like when I pass that old steakhouse where we first met her. Or when I hear someone call their stepmom Mom like it's the most natural thing in the world. I used to think family was a word that couldn't be faked. That if someone stood beside you at Christmas and carved turkey with you and told the same stories at the table, then that meant something. I don't think that anymore. Family isn't who smiles the most in the pictures. It's who shows up when the cameras are off. It's who keeps your name safe when you're not in the room. Lynn? She smiled for the cameras. She laughed at the jokes. She played the part so well that even Dad Strong, steady Dad, believed it. And maybe that's what still stings the most. Not that she took what she did, but that he let her. Or maybe, by the time he realized it, he was too tired to fight. I've tried not to let it harden me. It's easy to let bitterness settle in your bones when something like this happens. But Emily, she helps. She's still my anchor. We call more often now. She started scanning all the old photos she could find from Mom's shoeboxes and sending them to me in batches. We lost the house, but not the history. Not entirely. I keep some of Dad's tools in my garage now. Even if I don't use them much, they remind me of who he was before all of it. The man who taught me how to patch drywall, change a tire, gut a fish without wasting a scrap. That man still existed. He just got buried somewhere under someone else's version of love. I've thought about confronting Lynn. I tracked down an address once, out in Arizona. She runs some retreat spa now, probably pitching wellness and healing to people who've never seen the inside of a courtroom. But what would I even say? What good would it do? She'd smile, deflect, and walk away with her manicure intact. Some people live their whole lives like that, surfing just above the surface, while the rest of us drown in the wake they leave behind. I don't want to be one of those people. I want to be the kind who remembers. Who learns? Who doesn't let the next Lynn through the door without asking the hard questions? If there's one thing I've taken from all of this, it's that family has to be earned, over time, in the little moments, not just declared with champagne and a backyard wedding. And maybe it's okay to grieve not just the person you lost, but the version of them you didn't get to save. Dad was trying. I believe that. He just picked the wrong person to try with. And Emily and I, we picked up the pieces. That's what real family does. We don't vanish when things get messy. We sweep up, we rebuild, we hold the line. So Nosha's not family now. She never was. And the debt she left us with? It's more than financial. But we're paying it off, one quiet, stubborn, loving day at a time. Together.